Hey, this is Will Steele with DIY Boat Life. I just figured I would actually do a video on checking your oil. So in my essentially big block 454s, they're Mercruiser 7.4 MPI engines, mid-90s, and I prefer to check my oil when they're warm. Suppose you can do it when it's cold, but a lot of pros tell you to do it when your engine's warmed up, and then give about 5 to 10 minutes for your engines to cool down. Not so much to cool down, but to let the oil drain back into the pan. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to pull out our dipsticks here. So I've got one here and one on the other engine. Very easy to access. So we're going to pull that out. And we've got, it still looks like it wants me to add some oil. So we're just a little bit above the add mark. If you look here, see if you can see that. See if it'll focus on it. Yeah, so there you go. You can see where it says to fill. So that's just below the low, that's just above the below line, so we still want to add more oil. So we're getting there, but we're not there yet on that one. And I usually like to do it a second time just to confirm my first reading, so I'm going to put that back in, push it all the way in, let it sit there for maybe a hot second or two, and then pull it back out, and just verify that your readings are the same. And again, it's at add oil, so we're going to go ahead and add some oil to that one. Now, I don't know how much you're supposed to add. It's not really clear on how much you need to add when it says add, but we'll check that in a second. We'll check the other one now. Let's see here. That one also is it's a little bit above, but you know, okay, this is one of the things I wanted to show you is sometimes you'll get, see how it's on the not just there, but on the back side of the dipstick, it's a little bit here up at the high side. That I wouldn't count. That should not mean that it's at that point. And you can also notice a little bit here that's kind of concave a little bit, but that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's right above the add line. But I'm going to check it one more time. So let's put it back in here. Okay. And then got the 1, 2, 3, and let's take another look. Okay, we did not get any on the back side that time. All right, and it's still just right above the add line right there. There we go. So we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to add probably about the same amount of oil to each engine. I might look up to see how much oil it is from the add line to full. Assuming there's like a specific amount, or maybe it's a half a quart, maybe it's a quart. I'm not sure, but it would be nice to know so I can put the right amount of oil in there. So I'm going to just do a little quick search between the what it is the difference between the add line and the full line. So let's do a quick search. I'll be right back. So I wasn't able to find out the anything that specified the difference between the low oil mark on the dipstick for Mercruiser 7.4 and the full. But it looks like I'm getting closer. I put in another quart in one engine, and I think that may have brought it up to the full mark. So it might be just a difference of a quart of oil. Could be. So yeah, so I'm gonna go and show you something else I like, which is when I'm getting closer to the to full, so I have a little more accuracy when pouring, because these things can get messy and they're harder to hold and harder to just quickly check and see how much you put in. I like to just transfer everything to a smaller container, so I'll just transfer this to one of these empty ones, which I keep on using to refill. But I do need my oh, there it is. I need my funnel here. Oh, I can never have too many funnels, but unfortunately right now I only have one accessible to me. So let's take that, bring that up there, and we'll fill this sucker up with oil carefully. So this will require 2 hands. So let me maybe just put this phone down for a hot second. Do that. All right, there we go. And so pull this up. Yep. Okay, let's go back here. All right, so it looks like about a full quart to make one full as I added it, and I got right below the fill mark. So let's put another half, because I put half of a in this one, so I'm going to add another half a quart basically, and then we'll measure the dipstick level, oil level in here. So there we are. Okay, let's go a little more. Okay, that's pretty good. That's about half a quart, give or take a tad. And it should only take a minute or two for it to be ready. So I'm going to come back in a couple minutes and then we'll measure the oil level on that one. All right, it's been a couple minutes. We are now going to check this other one that I just filled up. And okay, similar to the other one, we're just short of the full mark. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more oil to that, if you can see it. Yeah, there we go. That's full. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, I don't know, probably could finish off that bottle, put a quarter of a quart per engine. So let's see here. I'll go down to about, well, yeah, I'm going to say if I'm at 12, we'll go down to 6. We're actually about 10, so we want to go down to about, so I want to put 6 in here, right? A quarter's going to be 8. Yeah, 8. So if I want to put 8, so I'm going to go down just a little bit below 4, okay? I think that should be okay. Okay, that should be good. I think the rest will probably go in the other engine, but I'm going to, just one more time since I already added some oil there. Let's dipstick check this again. And we're basically right at the full mark. I think that's plenty full. But it could take that last little bit. I'm sure it'll be fine. So we'll add the last little bit we have to the other engine. And I think we will be good to go. I'm going to run it again just to make sure that we didn't overfill. I don't think we did though. The engine's warm, and all that is required is that the warm oil float is viscous enough to flow down to the oil pan. So I can just throw the rest in here. I don't think a few ounces is going to make a critical difference with it being too full. Let's just add that last little bit. Okay. So you can't see me pouring the oil, but I don't think it's that that complicated what I'm doing. Okay. Let's go check the other one again one more time. Okay. That should have enough time to get down there. And yeah, I mean it's the same thing. I didn't make that a decision, but I think that's full enough. You know, as long as it's not below the add line, I think we're fine. So, as far as I'm concerned, we're good. I'm just going to go run the engines for a hot second, and then I'll measure it once again. But there we go. I'd say it's about, what would that put me? About 1.5 quarts per engine from the low to the full fill line, I believe. But 1.5 quarts is about what you need. So if you're at the add line, start off at maybe with 1 quart and then add till you need it. At least on these 454 big blocks, you should be okay to just throw a quart in there and then take your level reading. It shouldn't put it above, as long as you're at the add line, not in between. You might want to do it smaller increments, but I think if you're at the add line, you can just do one, you can just add 1 quart and then do a level reading and then incrementally add like a quarter of a quart. 8 ounces or whatever between checks. But as long as your engine's warm, you shouldn't have to run it again. But I'm going to do that anyway, just for good measure. I like to be a little bit. I'd rather be over cautious than under cautious. So there you go. Oil changes on a Mercruiser 7.4 mid-90s carbureted engine, or also known as a 454 big block. Yeah, one more thing. If you end up spilling any oil on hoses or belts or anything like that, you always want to clean it off, because oil is not very nice to just like outside of hoses, and especially any drive belts or anything like that, or electronics. Anything you spill any oil on, wipe it off. That's my last bit of advice. And again, this is Will Steele with DIY Boat Life, and I'll see you in the next episode.